previous Seattle Police Chief Norm Stamper and Cyril Wecht need to revive the examination concerning Kurt Cobain as confirmation develops that his passing may have been faked. As indicated by dazzling new claims, there is no feasible confirmation that Kurt Cobain's body was ever found or took care of by police. In 2015, the docudrama Absorbed Bleach was discharged. At the time there was a total power outage of confirmation demonstrating a real expired body having a place with Kurt Cobain. NewNationalist.net reports, about every one of that was ever indicated was a graph. First photograph underneath, however no genuine scene photographs other than the famous photograph of Cobain's correct foot and hand, with a criminologist hunched over him taking notes. Second photograph below. Do a photograph Google hunt of Kurt Cobain passing and all you will discover is the reproduction from Absorbed Bleach and nothing else supporting a genuine demise scene. The outline demonstrates that a shotgun was laying over Cobain's body indicating his head. The police said there was no leave wound and that the body looked perfect. His syringe box was discovered propped close to his body on the floor, with the tourniquet inside and the syringe infusion needle expelled. A key contention of the supposed paranoid idea holds that the culprits bungled the suicide setup in light of the fact that Cobain had no less than 3 times the deadly measurement of heroin, by infusion, in his blood framework and the fortitude to self-regulate a final blow by shotgun to his mouth. In all actuality, that level of heroin would have promptly debilitated him. There were no readable fingerprints found on the shotgun. Seattle Public Access have Richard Lee obtained a video that was taped on April 8, the day Cobain was found, from the tree outside Cobain's carport, demonstrating the scene around Cobain's body. Lee guaranteed it demonstrated a checked non-appearance of blood for what was accounted for as a point-clear shotgun impact to the head. As we see again and again in our cutting-edge time of misdirections, the general population should acknowledge an account as opposed to persuading proof regarding a dead body or setbacks. This makes one wonder, instead of murder or suicide, could the entire thing have been faked? Cobain's body was incinerated and his slag hurled into a spring. Along these lines nothing stays in which to perform DNA tests. Unfathomably, the shotgun was not checked for fingerprints until May 6, 1994. Cobain was discovered April 8, 1994. As indicated by the fingerprint analysis report, 4 inactive prints were lifted, yet they were not usable. Shotgun was swung over to love and softened down. Albeit a portion of Cobain's loved ones helped the suicide account, others are puzzled by the technique and savagery utilized. They say that genuine Cobain, if self-destructive, would have abandoned it at heroin overdose. Cobain's granddad, Leland Cobain, freely said that he trusts Kurt was the casualty of murder and not suicide. Case was ruled a suicide that day that the body was found. TNN per users definitely comprehend what we consider police and experts in organized misleadings. It doesn't take an entire police power to run these activities, particularly if there is a bigger intel psyops included. Everything necessary are a couple of key cops and authorities. Nobody else draws near to the task. To be sure, resigned Seattle Police Chief Norm Stamper and Cyril Wecht, the previous leader of the American Academy of Forensic Science, have difficult issues with the purported examination and need the case reopened. Even however he was absent for over 7 days, and companions and analyst Tom Grant were scanning for him, he was not situated until April 8, by an administration expert, who expressed the body resembled a mannequin. Then, similarly as Absorbed Bleach was discharged, Seattle police asserted they had a few more moves of film to discharge. An entire 21 years after the assumed suicide, Seattle crime investigator Mike Siesinski pronounced, "I figured it would be a smart thought to investigate that undeveloped film, in light of the fact that there were some fear-inspired notions that we, SPD, were concealing the film." So we looked through the new photographs expecting that it would give extra proof of the scene, and lo and observe, it demonstrated only an impact and an impression. This is straight up there with the 27-minute nothing burger discharged by the Broward County Sheriff in the Parkland occasion. Apologies, yet this doesn't fly for a reasoning individual. Truth be told, This small nothing burger trap has moved us more into the phony camp. For what reason would Kurt Cobain's suicide be faked? A false hypothesis about Courtney Love was that she was only a fortunate groupie. As a general rule, she was a key factor in propelling Cobain's prosperity, which by one means or another occurred without any forethought once she entered the scene in 1992. Kurt Cobain was depicted as rather apathetic and frequently tranquilized. Numerous Think Love composed the essential expressive guides into a portion of Nirvana's tunes. Likewise, the feeling of Cobain's passing made a religion from which Love and her association have profited. Also, the Cobain mark as a business undertaking extended, and he turned into a symbol in death. Love got bunches of advancement and insurance from media and Hollywood. Courtney Love's alienated father, Hank Harrison, was the administrator for another counterculture symbol, the Grateful Dead. In a fairly finished-the-top way, Harrison rails on Courtney. So we submit both Cobain and Love are lifetime on-screen characters assuming a part in the social wars. Love is the proto-personification of hyper-brutal women's liberation and is a self-declared bitch. Her witticism is appeared at cleared out. Different commitments to the way of life incorporate. The most debilitated and turned bitches I know, are the ones I am glad to call my companions. Kurt Cobain then again was depicted as a feeble, fearful male who looked at on his young little girl. Normally, Love said something regarding the heap on with this doozy, and the sky is the limit from there, at right. A few verses in Cobain's music appear to discuss a fixation to confer suicide, which prompted a whirlwind of copycat suicides by Cobain's fans. The suicide filled in as injury-based mentally conditioning for some in Generation X. Maybe the most noteworthy information came at a commendation Courtney Love gave for Cobain. It was antagonistic and rather hostile to male. She read from an asserted letter from Cobain in which he appears to be whiny, powerless and a bum and not a decent portrayal of masculinity or parenthood. Love irately calls Cobain a loafer and a weakling and utilized obscenities against him before his stunned fans. A donor at Reddit, Miss Lizzie, composed a post depicting how she was a Nirvana fan at age 13, yet now that she is more established and smarter she can see the negative counterculture plan. I would prefer not to take all her thunder, which you can read in the connection, yet a few features take after. The topic of the greater part of his music incorporated these focuses. Life sucks, however there is nothing you can truly do about it. Vacancy, I detest myself and need to kick the bucket, smells like teenager soul. Broken-heartedness, heart-shaped box, you know you're right. Depression, something in the way, every Nirvana song. Do medications to get an impermanent high or break from life, dumb, on a plane. Women's issues, assault, premature birth, and so on, Penny royalty, Polly, rape me, been a son. Fun, meaninglessness, pointlessness, drain you, Molly's lips. Feeling like an untouchable, against congruity, lithium, in bloom, come as you are. While we likely search out music that is an impression of our identity, despite everything I don't welcome the concealed plan of premature births are extraordinary and men suck behind this discouraging grunge music I once cherished. Don't hesitate to tune into Penny Royalty, which seems to commend premature births in the event that you don't trust me. One of Cobain's tunes, Mr. Mustache, appeared to take a stand in opposition to machismo culture. Cobain viewed himself as a women's activist, and as per Go Mag, in a meeting with PBS, Cobain brought up how society treats ladies unjustifiably, again alluding to his youth encounters. Since I couldn't discover any companions, male companions that I felt good with, I wound up hanging out with the young ladies a great deal. I just dependably felt that they weren't approached with deference. Particularly on the grounds that ladies are completely abused. See, I am not against Cobain being a women's activist. As I stated, his women's activist positions spoke to me at the time. What I am stating however is that Cobain appeared to censure manliness in his music, as if manliness may be intrinsically off base. The fact is the more youthful variant of me may have not been lifting this up. Rather, I was thinking how cool it was that he upheld for ladies. Still, I was not taking in the hints that men and manliness suck. It may be critical to take note of that Cobain himself was a swinger, which was quite radical at the time. Today, numerous men feel assaulted essentially being men or having manly characteristics. This vilification of men did not begin with Cobain, but rather he unquestionably added to it. Kurt Cobain wearing dresses,